Hey guys, it's Shadow the Gundam Man again for the third time tonight. And, well, this is another album review. It's 10:55 p.m. right now, so it's almost 11 o'clock at night, so chances are y'all are gonna see this video. Let me fix my hair. Chances are y'all are gonna see this video tomorrow. It's another album review. And I wasn't gonna review this album until after I reviewed Metallica's Master of Puppets, but I just listened to it. And it is... wow. And it's this album that I'm talking about is the album that came after Master of Puppets. And Justice... I'm covering the name. And Justice for All by legendary metal band Metallica. And Justice for All came out in 1988. It was the album that came after Master of Puppets in the Metallica discography, which will be my next review. And really, it's a better album. I like this album better than I do Master of Puppets, better than I do any other Metallica album. I would actually say that this is my second favorite metal album, my second favorite album, period, after Megadeth's Rust in Peace, which came out 2 years after this. So, there was some controversy surrounding the album, but we'll get to that in a minute, so this is probably going to be a longer review. Oh, and I've forgotten something. I'm going to start doing runtimes. I'm going to give you the full length of the album. Not playing it, of course. That's illegal. Well, not really. Because there are lots of channels that all they do is upload full-length albums on YouTube. I'm going to tell you the full length of the album. The album clocks in at 65 minutes and 29 seconds exactly. So pretty much 1 hour, 5 minutes, and 30 seconds. It's a long album, and I can actually give you the actual song runtimes here, because it has that here. Thank God. So, this album really it's a great album. The lyrics are very intelligent. I can actually give you some of the lyrical themes in the album. But here's a comment from Lars Ulrich, the drummer for Metallica. Excuse me. And this comment about the album said, "We took the Ride the Lightning and Master of Puppets concept as far as we could take it." Now, I've said it twice in this video, and of course y'all know that Master of Puppets is the album that came before this. So, Ride the Lightning is the album that came before Master of Puppets. So Ride the Lightning was Metallica's second album. So he's saying that, we took the Ride the Lightning and Master of Puppets concept as far as we could take it. There was no place else to go with the progressive, nutty, sideways side of Metallica. And I'm so proud of the fact that, in some way, that album is kind of the epitome of that progressive side of us up through the 80s. So yeah, many people regard Master of Puppets as Metallica's greatest album. Some people would even say that the Black Album is Metallica's greatest album. I say that the Black Album is one of their biggest flops. But that's just my opinion. I think that And Justice for All is Metallica's greatest album ever. The lyrical themes of the album go from, concerns of the environmental situation of the planet, political corruption, blacklisting and discrimination, anti-war anthem, and issues such as freedom of speech, civil liberties, presented with a really dark, pessimistic, negative view. There's a song on here, it's a rant from James Hetfield, the singer, to his parents. So there's a lot of different lyrical themes on this album, but it's a very intelligent album. I know a lot of people who say that metal is just unintelligent, satanic ramblings while you're smashing on a guitar, beating a drum kit. So not all metal is satanic. I'm a Christian. I listen to metal, and there I can verify that there is some good Christian metal, and there are a lot of Christians who make metal music. But off of that, if anyone ever says that metal is just unintelligent ramblings, play them this album. This album is a very intelligent album, and that's about the lyrics. Try to find those real quick. Now my opinions on the tracks. The first song, Blackened. Okay, Blackened is 6 minutes 40 seconds long. It's a great way to open the album. Okay, I'm gonna tell you. I said in the last review I did of Reload that it was a good album. I need to find it. See, I said in the last album I reviewed was Reload, and I said it was a good album, but it had like just a few standout tracks on it, and the others were just average. This album has no average. Every song on this album is miles ahead of most other metal I have ever heard. And Metallica is considered a mainstream metal band at this point. This was back before they were really mainstream. This is a great album. But Blackened is a great way to open the album. So the lyrics are about the environmental situation of our planet, as I just said. It's a great song, 6 minutes 40 seconds. It's one of the few songs that goes through a verse-chorus structure. There's a lot of shredding on not only this song, but the rest of the album. The guitars, just lots of shredding, arpeggios, solos, and all that. Very unusual time signatures and tempo changes. Very fast, a lot of it. It's thrash metal. What do you expect? It's fast. The next song is the title track, And Justice for All. 9 minutes 44 seconds long. It is the second longest song on the album. Lyrics are about political and legal corruption. Honestly, it's my favorite track on the album. I love the song And Justice for All. It's a great song. It's a great follow-up to Blackened. It's just a really good song, and I don't think it follows a verse-chorus structure. Now, if you don't know what I'm doing, I'm pulling out the little, booklet that comes in it. We're going to check out the lyrics. Nope. It follows a verse-chorus structure. And the chorus of the chorus. Okay, I'm just looking over there because my brother is doing something. But the chorus of the song, part of it goes, "Justice is lost, justice is raped, justice is gone. Pulling your strings, justice is done." So that's part of the chorus of the song "Injustice for All," and the whole point of that, saying that basically, yeah, like it said, justice is gone, justice is done, it's lost. It's been unfortunately raped by the people who abuse the system and are corrupt within the system. Very intelligent song. My favorite on the album again, and again, it's very fast. Lots of shredding and some tempo changes though. Very progressive on this album. Eye of the Beholder. Actually, I need to get the booklet out again. I like keeping the booklet in the case. Eye of the Beholder. Oh, and I forgot to mention what time it runs at. 6 minutes 25 seconds long. So, actually, one of the shorter tracks on the record. I know that when you think 6 minutes, you don't think short. And it's basically about how we really don't have, freedom of speech. Very intelligent song. Again, mostly all these songs are very intelligent songs, and it's really good. And I think that Eye of the Beholder really channels very well off of the title track that came before it. Then you have One. One is based off of a novel, or was it a novella? If you don't know the difference, just the difference is the length. And it's based off that story of a World War One soldier who was caught in a landmine explosion that took his sight, speech, hearing, his arms and legs. He was basically trapped in his body. He couldn't do anything. So he wasn't, he was living, but he wasn't alive. And of course, the song is like, of course, the song goes, "Hold my breath as I wish for death. Please, God, help me." Because he wanted to die. Because he didn't want to live. He didn't want to survive without being able to live. He'd rather die. Again, very intelligent song. I love the song. And it's a power ballad. And in standard Metallica power ballad style, it starts off and it's melodic and it's not soft in it by any means. It's heavy at this point. But it only gets heavier and heavier. And by the end of the song, the entire end of the song is basically lots of solos. There's a lot of shredding guitar solos in this song, tempo changes, and the like. Again, very progressive on this album. The Shortest Straw. Again, it's another song about, freedom and liberty. And it runs. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention how long the song One goes. One is 7 minutes 24 seconds long. The Shortest Straw is 6 minutes 35 seconds. Shortest Straw, I think, should have followed up Eye of the Beholder. I think One should have been the last song on the record. Shortest Straw should have come right after Eye of the Beholder because it would really play off of it. But I can't say anything. I didn't make the album, so I can't do anything about that. And it's again, like I said, very intelligent song, fast. There's some tempo changes. So you're kind of at this point, you're kind of getting used to what the album has to offer. Very intense music. You get to Harvester of Sorrow. 5 minutes, 42 seconds long. The second shortest track on the record. There's only one song shorter than Harvester of Sorrow, which we get to in actually it's the last track on the record, so. And I'm reading the lyrics. It's a short song compared to the rest of the stuff on the album. I'm pretty sure it's a song about drug use and the bad things of drug use. Metallica's done a lot of stuff like that. So, yeah. Again, that's a very intelligent song. Their signature song, Master of Puppets, on the album. Master of Puppets is about the negative side of drug use. It goes from you controlling the drugs to the drugs controlling you. So, very intelligent thing there. Again, it's pretty progressive on this album. Then you get to The Frayed Ends of Sanity, which is 7 minutes 40 seconds long, which obviously is a song about insanity. Reading the lyrics here, it's about like schizophrenia and just being crazy. So, really good song. See, at the getting to this point in the album, nothing much like the first 3 tracks really played off each other very well, really connected like it was one ongoing narrative. One broke that up, and The Shortest Straw came in. continuing the narrative of the first 3 tracks. Then you had Harvester of Sorrow, which really didn't continue the narrative, so the narrative is done by this point. Frayed Ends of Sanity didn't continue the narrative at all, so the narrative is done. The narrative, as I'm speaking, is no longer in this album. Then we get to the instrumental, To Live Is To Die, 9 minutes, 48 seconds long, longest song on the album. It's an instrumental. There are no actual sung lyrics. There's a spoken word part, which is, when a man lies, he murders some part of the world. These are the pale deaths when men miscall their lives. All this I cannot bear to witness any longer. Cannot the kingdom of salvation take me home? The first half of that goes from When a Man Lies to Which Men Miscall Their Lives, was written by German poet Paul Gerhardt. The second half, All This I Cannot Bear to Witness Any Longer, Cannot the Kingdom of Salvation Take Me Home, was written by Cliff Burton, who was the bassist for Metallica until his tragic death in 1986 or 87. I forgot. Excuse me for that. That is somewhat disrespectful to the deceased, but I have forgotten. I think it was 1987 because they were on tour, because he died in a tour bus accident. So, yeah. He also wrote the bass line for that song, but that really doesn't, not to be disrespectful to him because he was a great bass player, that really doesn't matter, and I'll get to that in a second. Dyer's Eve, last track on the album. It's a rant from James Hetfield to his parents. And we will read these lyrics, or the chorus. Innocence torn from me without your shelter, barred reality, I'm living blindly. This is, it's basically going from that, a rant from James Hetfield to his parents, because they abandoned him. They didn't abandon him. His father left when he was about 12 or 13. So his father abandoned him in the family. His mother died of cancer when he was 16. So he had to take care of his family. He was the man. And he didn't want to be. He didn't know how to be the man. Okay, it's kind of an intelligent song. It's fast. It's 5 minutes, 12 seconds long. It's the shortest song in the album. So yeah. Overall, this album is very, very powerful. Very powerful, but some would say that it lost some of the power that it could have had because of its production. The production of this album is a major source of controversy even to this day, because this album has a barely audible bass. And the man who mixed the album and put all of it together to get the sound out of it said that the drummer, Lars Ulrich, told him to bring the bass down to where it was barely audible and then drop it another 5 decibels. The bass is barely audible on this album. The drums have a very... Sorry, that was my mother. The bass is very... Not the bass. The bass is barely audible at all. I mean, I can't hear it. But I don't look for bass. I'm a guitar player. The drums are very weird. The drummer plays a lot of double bass drumming. A lot of double bass patterns very quickly. Which, the kick... If you don't know what a bass drum is, it's the kick drum, It's the big drum in the center of a drum kit that the drummer has to... He has a little pedal that he kicks. He puts his foot on it, and a little thing hits it. Well, there's a lot of double bass in this, where he had 2 with 2 pedals and he's moving his feet really fast. It sounds like typewriter clicking almost. It honestly sounds like typewriter or keyboard clicking. And the rest of the drums have a really weird sound that I really don't know how to describe it. Very sterile production, and that made a lot of people mad. I don't really get why. Because Master of Puppets didn't really have audible bass to me. I've never really heard a lot of bass out of Metallica. It's a lot of guitar-centric stuff. But honestly, I like the production of this album. Production-wise, it actually is my favorite Metallica album, and it is my favorite Metallica album, period. So, I have nothing bad to say about this album. The only possible criticism you could have is that it's too long, because it does run in at over an hour. But see, there was a time where music was album-oriented. Music isn't now. Music now is single-oriented. Like, if this was released today, if this album was released using the format that music is released today, Metallica would have been really pushing a song like Harvester of Sorrow, which was the lead single off the album, or Eye of the Beholder, which was the second single off the album, or One. Harvester of Sorrow would get a lot of radio airplay. A few people would pick up the album. Most people would download it, but a lot of people would stream it. The album would get around, but most people would be cherry-picking a few songs they liked, the singles off the album, and going and just listening to those instead of picking up the whole album. I don't get that. So this album really benefits from being released in a time where album-oriented music was still popular. However, this album came out at the beginning of the transition from that, because MTV and all that. Now, but on to the critics' opinions of this album. Okay, AllMusic gave it a 4.5 out of 5. The Chicago Tribune gave it a 3.5 out of 4. Robert Christgau gave it a C+. Encyclopedia of Popular Music gave it a 3 out of 5. Metal Forces gave it a 10 out of 10. Q, the letter, gave it a 4 out of 5. Rock Hard gave it a 9.5 out of 10. Rolling Stone gave it a 4 out of 5. The Rolling Stone Album Guide gave it a 4.5 out of 5. Sputnik Music gave it a 2 out of 5. I don't see how Sputnik Music gave it a 2 out of 5. Especially when you have these really, really high reviews. Since I have been constantly praising this album, you'd think, oh, he's going to give it a 10 out of 10. No, I'm going to give this like a 15 out of 15. Like, I'm rating this on a scale of 15. No, yeah, 10 out of 10, because it's the same thing. 10 out of 10, 100%. There is not a dull moment on this album. I think most people's annoyance listening to this album would be the production. That is a preference thing. I like the production. I like the album. But, yeah. If you have never listened to Metallica in your life, I have the album right here still because I haven't moved at all. Most people would say that if you have never listened to Metallica in your life, listen to something like Load or Reload or even the Black Album. Most people tell you to listen to the Black Album if you've never heard Metallica before in your life. I say, if you've never listened to Metallica ever before, really, if you've never even listened to metal, or if you've listened to metal, but you've never listened to thrash metal. Honestly, if you've never listened to thrash metal, listen to Megadeth, rest in peace. But if you've never listened to Metallica, if you want to get into metal, if you want to get into metal, if you want to get into metal, listen to the Black Album. If you want to get into Metallica and the heavier side of more mainstream metal, listen to the Black Album. But if you really want to get into Metallica, if you really want to listen to Metallica and know what Metallica stood for, when they started and know what they really, really stood for as a band starting out, not really starting out, but if you really want to know what Metallica stood for before they took their commercial downturn, listen to And Justice for All. Appreciate And Justice for All for what it is. I know a lot of people who listen to pop music, or they listen to Pierce the Veil or Sleeping with Sirens, who would listen to this album and dismiss it as just a stupid metal album. That's a very close-minded way of thinking. And don't tell me that I'm saying this because, I don't like Sleeping with Sirens or Pierce the Veil. Don't call me a hypocrite. I have legitimately listened to those bands. I don't like the style. I have listened to Panic at the Disco. I don't like the style. I've listened to a lot of these modern artists and bands. I don't like the style. I don't like the music. It doesn't interest me, and it lacks creativity in me. But I've given it a fair listen. But don't be like that. If you decide to take my advice and listen to this album, don't be like that. Don't just listen to the first song or skip to the end and listen to the shortest song and say that you don't like it because you don't like metal. Take your stereotype of metal out of it. Listen to the album for what it is. Appreciate the album for what it is. It's a good album, really. And I think more people need to see that. But that's just my opinions. It's my views. I give it a 10 out of 10. It's my favorite Metallica album, and it's their best album, despite the really strange production that I actually enjoy and find really cool. This video is running on over 20 minutes. I'm watching it approach 27 minutes right now. So this will be an over half-hour video. But, yeah. Metallica and Justice for All, 10 out of 10. If you are not a fan of heavy metal, then you're probably not going to like the album. But if you think that metal is just a bunch of stupid nonsense that requires no musical ability whatsoever and no ability to write good, intelligent songs, listen to this album. Read the lyrics. Your mind will be, if your mind's not changed after that, okay, if you listen to this album and still feel like metal requires no ability to write songs or no musical talent, then you are a stubborn moron. I'm not being a jerk. That is a true fact. And I'm not saying that because I'm a metalhead and I like metal more than any other genre of music. I'm really saying, you are too stubborn for your own good if you listen to And Justice for All and you still feel like metal is stupid, requires no songwriting ability and no talent. That'd be like me saying that pop music requires no musical ability, no ability to play an instrument, no songwriting ability. Even though with the musical talent and the ability to play an instrument and play it well, pop music is approaching that. But, yeah. If you're one of the people that thinks metal is stupid for people with barely any brain function who can't write songs and can't play instruments well, check this album out. I'm serious. If you want more albums like this that are very intelligent, very well played instruments, hit me up because I got a ton that I could suggest to you. But that's it for this video, because this video is going to be just under half an hour long. It really didn't need to be this long, but I digress. I think I just used that word wrong. I don't care. But I need to end this video. It's been Shadow the Gundam Man. See you next time when I review Master of Puppets. Peace.